Well, it's been almost 4 months since I've done any maintenance, trimming, or practically anything for our shrimp bowl. I've been putting it off and realistically loving how the overgrown look has become, but I think it's time we get in there and do a little trimming and maintenance. So let's get the aquascaping tools out, get this bowl outside, and take care of business. Now that we got our sachet towel on, we can get our aquascaping tools all set up, and we're where this bowl began. We're in my backyard where I did one of my first really good YouTube videos that I was proud of. And since, I haven't really trimmed this up in about 4 months, I thought, hey, why not? Let's bring it outside where we created it and give it a little trim up. So of course we got our little mini net to clean up those areas. We got our scissors to trim up all those long roots, as you can see, glass cleaner. And we also have our little tweezers to plant any loose plants that come up during this maintenance session. If you're wondering how we're gonna tackle this, you and I are in this together. This is the first time I have ever trimmed something so overgrown, and I've honestly never maintained a little shrimp bowl like this before, so I'm excited for us to learn together and just have a good time out here in the backyard. It's a good day to have a great day, so let's get into the scaping session. As you can see here, these roots are absolutely torn in and just everywhere. They have fully rooted down at this substrate down here. As you can see, the little fish I have in here has barely any room to go anywhere. So our first goal is to get these floaters out. We're gonna put them into this bowl because I don't want them to die out and I do wanna reuse them. But we're just gonna start pulling them out and see what happens, and we'll tackle it as we go. Look at these roots on these floaters. They are just, that is the thickest roots I've ever seen on any floater. And you can just see the little flowers coming off of it and everything. Right now, I'm just doing my best to pull it up as far as it'll let me. And I'm grabbing our scissors and I'm just trimming them just so we can get the floaters out so we can access inside of this tank here. I think that's gonna be the best way to attack this because I want to save these. So that's main goal number one, is they are just too beautiful to give up. But with floaters, you just got to be careful. So we're just going to take our time here. We're not in any rush. It's a gorgeous day out. Another pro tip, guys, is as you're doing any maintenance session or any aquascape, don't second guess yourself. If you feel like you're making a mistake, just know there's no accidents in nature. And if you make somewhat of something you're not happy with, don't let it get to you. Let it be something happy and just work with it and just keep it rolling. And I always think about with these types of projects when you feel like it's just overwhelming is I kind of relate it to doing laundry. On laundry day when you're going through all your socks, all your clothes and everything, it seems like a lot, but what I always tell myself is just do one piece at a time. So in a situation like this or any other situation, take it one step at a time, and each step you can know you're going in a forward positive direction. And with these little floaters, it seems like they're never ending, but we're just going one at a time, and eventually we'll get there to where they're all taken out and we can start trimming. This is something new for me that I just wanted to show you. I believe this is a flower coming off of these floating plants, and it just is absolutely gorgeous. And just, I just wanted to show you, when you're doing stuff like this, take time to appreciate what's going on in your tank. Nature is incredible, and when you find little fun things like this that just happen without you even knowing about it, like this blooming flower on the top of these floating plants, I just encourage you guys to take a second, a couple minutes to just really embrace how cool nature is and be proud of yourself. We grew this out of our little shrimp bowl with no filter, no heater, no nothing. And these plants are going crazy, and that just shows you, if I can get it done, you can get it done. Well, we got all the floaters out, and now we're at the stage where we can look into the bowl now and see what we got and what we're working with here. Right off the bat, I can see a lot of these loose floating roots from the floaters, and as you can see, as you pull them up, it's gonna pull up some of your aqua soil. I do wanna get these out because since they're no longer connected to our floating plants, they're just gonna break down, deteriorate, and die off. So we wanna get those out because that will definitely affect our water chemistry in here. So right now I'm just gonna start pulling out some of these little rooties. Pro tip on that is pull them out, not gently, but they're gonna be rooted into your soil. And what roots do is if you look right here, down here, you can see how those roots penetrate the aqua soil, and what they do is when in between those little balls, they spread out their little feelers to get rooted in there. And this is actually a pretty cool way to look at it right through the glass there. But when you pull them out, let's see if we can get this out here. So when you pull it out, you can see it's gonna pull some of the aqua soil out with it. Totally normal, but yeah, just like that. We're gonna keep on pulling, get these little floating roots out, and then we can see what plants need to get trimmed up. Took a little bit of time, but with our handy dandy tweezers here, we were able to get out all of these roots here. As you can see, there was quite a few, but just look at the difference it made. You can actually start seeing what's going on in this bowl. If you come over to this side, we can actually see the little scape we originally made. We can see the little open area here. I'm starting to remember where I put plants and how it's all looking, and it's actually coming back together. And surprisingly, we don't have a lot of work to do. Everything's growing really well. In a low-tech system like this, plants don't grow very fast, so it gives you a lot of time to just let it grow in how it naturally should. And it just, in a sense, is more like practice. I have treated this fishbowl as just a big learning experimental process, and it's taught me a lot about how plants grow, how fast or slow they grow, and realistically, it's just given me a lot of thinking time to just think how I want this to look. So right off the bat, some of these Java fern leaves, I don't think we're getting enough nutrients. As you can see here, this guy has some holes in it. Now, regular pond snails, people think that they attack plants, but pond snails, they actually only go after decaying dead plants. So as we can see here, I'm assuming some of these little holes here are from the snails, and that's showing me that this Java fern is not very healthy. And what I'm gonna do is snip this back, and hopefully that will trigger the Java fern to start growing some smaller leaves. So we'll find the rhizome, give it a little snip, and just like so. And generally, this is just a little bit too big for a fishbowl. So we're gonna try to get some of the bigger leaves out to help bring back the more compact look that we want. So there's actually a couple more leaves in here I'm gonna keep trimming. We're getting a little bit of sun too. This is perfect. I am not ready for summer. I don't know if any of you guys live out here in Arizona, but it gets to be about 110, 115 degrees outside, and man, oh man, I can already feel it, the sun warming back up. This little plant here, the Hydrocotyl Japan, is probably one of my favorite little nano plants. As you can see, the little leaves, they look like little 4-leaf clovers. I only was able to put one little sprig in here. So what I'm gonna try to do is trim off just some ends of it and replant it in another spot in the tank. So hopefully we can double our hydrocotyl and have more of it down the road. So maybe next time we trim it, we'll have 2 or 3 more trimmings as opposed to just this one we're gonna grab. But when you propagate any plant, you can just find a good snipping spot, just like so. And each one of those sprigs, you can plant back into the substrate. So you can literally just take it like that. And that new sprig we just planted is going to create another plant. As you can tell, we don't have a lot of space in here, but we're working with what we got. Just like so. So something fun I wanted to show you is this is an asparagus fern. It is a little mini bonsai type tree that if you take off all the soil, you can let the roots sit in your aquarium water, and these little dudes will start growing really well. The only thing you need to be careful with is these top leaves will start to dry out very easily if they're not in a real humid condition or environment. So what I do is when I see these getting a little dry, I just kind of spray some water on them, or just take some, your fingers in here and just let it drip onto it. And that's been seeming to grow these quite well. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get these balled back up so I can just kind of wedge them back in here, because I've noticed that they're starting to fall over. We're gonna keep these roots in the water line. Some of the leaves might fall into the water and die off, but that's totally normal. But we just want these white parts to be submerged in the water once we fill everything back up. All right, well, we went ahead and cut and maintained and did pretty much all we could for the shrimp bowl. Since it's so small, there really isn't that much to do, and the plants weren't growing crazy tall. The biggest thing we wanted to do today was clean up some of the floaters, get their roots trimmed up to allow more light to penetrate inside the shrimp bowl. Now that everything's settled in and doing great, we need more light to get to these plants to really see some growth, not just from the floaters, but from our plants that we have inside the bowl. So right now we're going to get our bowl of floaters, and you can see they're wilting away in this sun right now, but we're gonna get them trimmed up. I'm not gonna put all of them back in, but we're gonna pick the best ones out, trim them up, pop them back in here, and move this bowl back inside, give it a little bit of a water change, and look at how good we made it look. All right, so I'm really happy with how this turned out. I had a lot of the floaters removed. We got a lot of those roots all cleaned up, and overall, I feel like we did a good job together. So we're gonna go ahead and take out a little bit more of this water just from all the stuff that we stirred up doing all that. I don't want to take out a full water change just because this is a shrimp bowl. So shrimp do not like big water changes at all. But since I haven't really done a full water change in months, I'm just gonna take out just a little bit, put some fresh water in there, and we can see how well it came out. Just like any regular aquarium is gonna be making sure our glass is nice and polished up. I'm gonna get our little flipper nano glass cleaner here and just try to get some of the stuck on, algae and debris off this glass here so we can really see how much brighter we made this skate. Well, how do you think we did? I think we accomplished our goal of getting some of the floaters out. Just to show you how many floaters we took out. We took out an entire bowl of them. So hopefully that helps let in a little bit more light. It helps let some of those plants grow up, and it gives the shrimp and the snails in there a little bit more room to explore, grow up, and just, do whatever they want to do. But love how this came out. I appreciate you coming over and doing our first shrimp bowl maintenance session. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and let me know what you think.